We have fire. It's burning down pretty good now. Just wasted all this time and effort. Let's give this another shot. Hello, welcome back to another episode from Pale Horse Survival and Tactical. I'm Bill. Today we're going to take a look at wild onion. Stay tuned. Well, what we have in front of us here is one of the many species of wild onion. This is called three-corner leek, three-corner garlic, or three-corner onion. The botanical name is Allium trichitrum, and it's considered an invasive species in a lot of areas. It's found pretty much worldwide in most of the temperate climates. Very pervasive across the U.S. It is indigenous to Eurasia. It was brought here, I believe, in the 1800s. A lot of our medicinal herbs, which are considered weeds, were brought here from Europe by the early settlers. Dandelions being one of them, purslane, plantago, purslane, just to name a few. Pretty easy to identify. They look like, when you first see them, they look like grass blades, and they're almost always. They grow in clumps. You can see all the multiple stems down here. And when you find a patch, it's usually pretty good size. Here's one word of warning. There's a couple of lookalikes that can be mistaken for wild onion by inexperienced foragers. One is Star of Bethlehem, very poisonous. And another is Death Camas, has grassy blades, very, very poisonous. The main rule when you're foraging for wild onions, well, any edible is positive identification. If you're not sure, do not eat it. Don't attempt it. And if possible, apprentice yourself to an experienced forager in your area who's familiar with the local flora. They can kind of guide you through it. And if anybody has any questions, you can always hit me up too in the comment section or email me direct at palehorsesurvival@yahoo.com. I'm always happy to help. You can send me pictures of whatever you have a question about, and I'll do my best to identify it. The main rule is when foraging for onion, let your nose be your guide. Take a leaf, pull the leaf off, macerate it between your fingers, and give it a sniff. And these have very nice garlicky onion type aroma. If you have the onion smell, garlicky aroma, and it's nice and strong, you have yourself an edible onion or garlic. The Allium genus is very broad. It contains over 100 different species. It's almost impossible to identify each individual onion. Some even hybridize, and there's a lot of botanists who will argue over the identities of different ones. So I don't even bother with that unless it's one like this, which is real easy, very apparent and easy to identify, and I'm going to show you how to do that here in a second. But the main rule is you just pick a leaf, roll it up really good between your fingers, that's macerating it. Give it a good sniff, and you smell onion, you're good to go. Okay, the easiest way to identify the 3-corner onion, 3-corner garlic, or 3-corner leek, as it's all named as or considered. Find yourself a leaf, pinch it off, bring it up. You see the triangular cross section on that? There's 3 corners there, just like on a triangle. 1, 2, and 3 on the other side. That is why this is called triquetrum. It's a 3-corner garlic or 3-corner onion. Very, very easy to do. And another way you can further identify that, you see the furrow going down the middle of the leaf. Right down in the bottom there, you can see the shadow furrow that runs all the way down the center. Flip it over. You'll see that keel here. Very, very, very easy to identify. Wild onion will not have bulbs as big as their domesticated brethren. The bulbs are much smaller and they're usually stronger. And wild edibles are always much higher in vitamin and medicinal constituents than their domesticated counterparts. And these onions and chives are a cool weather perennial. They'll make their appearance in late winter generally, and they'll grow, and then when the heat starts to hit them in summer, that triggers the end of their growth cycle, so they'll start their flowering cycle. These will send up flower stalks. Matter of fact, I forgot my phone in the truck. I have some screenshots of the flowers of these. Since we're here in late February, these aren't going to flower for some time, so I won't be able to obviously include the flowers in this video, so I took screenshots of the flowers to show you guys. They're white flowers in clusters with green stripes down the center of the sepals or petals. And this is about as high as these get. They get about 10-12 inches in height. And all parts of this is edible, including the flowers. The bulbs and foliage and even the flowers can all be eaten raw or cooked, included in soups or dishes. You can harvest these and let them dry. Once they're thoroughly air dried, then they can be placed in a container. And but don't put them in a container until they're dry. They'll mildew and mold on you. And once they're dry, they're like any other dried herb. You can keep them in a jar or a baggie or whatever you have, and use them at your convenience. If you make a strong tea out of the crushed bulbs, very strong tea, an infusion, you can use that tea as a bug repellent. You can apply it topically to your skin and help keep the bugs away due to the sulfur content in these here. The mashed bulbs, you can apply that to it's a topical antimicrobial and antifungal. So you can use that juice and also the strong infusion that we just talked about a bit ago as a bug repellent can be used as a topical antimicrobial, wound wash, etc. So this is the 3-corner garlic, or 3-corner onion, or 3-corner leek, whichever you prefer. Okay, here are the flowers that I promised. Give Give you guys a good look at those. They have that green stripe down the center of the sepal. Three-cornered. They're calling it garlic here. Like I said, people argue over whether it's an onion, a garlic, or a leek. So I don't get that anal about it. It's a wild edible in my book. So I'll enjoy it as all three. Excuse me. And there's a good look of how the flowers, they come up in clusters. You really can't, and there it is, Allium trichitrum. Really can't miss them. And when they're in bloom, the flowers will kind of draw your attention, catch your attention to them, since they grow in clumps. Some of you have probably seen these and didn't know that they were onions. These are really, really good. If you've never tried these, you're really missing out. They have a really bold, full-bodied flavor. It's a mixture of garlic and onion. Really, really tasty. Definitely one of my favorites. Hope you enjoyed the video as much as I did making it today. Please like, subscribe, and share. And I hope all of you are having an outstanding day or night, depending on where you're located. And I will see all of you very soon on the next one. Everybody take care. Bye-bye. Hey, I'm back. I just discovered some wild chives while I was out here. And like onions, they grow in clumps and patches. And the same criteria applies to the chives as onions. They're in the Allium genus, so it's cool weather perennial. And they'll show up as clumps that look like grass, often in dormant lawns, when the lawns are brown and dormant during the winter time. And this is about as tall as they get right here, probably about 10 inches or so, but they're real easy to identify. When you first see them, they look like grass blades, but if you look a little closer, stems are cylindrical and they're hollow on the inside, and then look for the ends are pointed. They come to sharp points on the ends, and as always, just macerate a leaf and allow your nose to be the guide. Just wanted to include this in the video since we're on the allium kick today. You can see more back in here. These are all clumps here. Okay, I wanted to keep everything complete here. I wanted to, man, the glare on the screen. I wanted to show, include the flowers for chives. The glare's rough out here. There's the wild chive. They send up the purple flowers when the weather starts to warm up, just like onions. And you can see the clumps of flowers there. Allium schoenoprasum is the botanical name. And there's a close-up of one of the flowers. Wild chives. It was just by chance that I ran across those. I looked over and they're always a real deep green. They just kind of stand out from everything else. Especially at this time of the year, being wintertime, when a lot of the grass is brown and dormant. It's been pretty frosty lately. Anyways, guys, have a good one. See you soon on the next one. Bye-bye.